going to discuss the half kneeling shoulder external rotation just using a weighted ball. So setting up in a good position, like we talked about in part one, I'm in a solid half kneeling position, the knees under the hips, my back toe is digging down because if we go flat here, you see how I kind of like fall out into the back there? And so we want to make sure that the glute is actually keeping the butt supported underneath of you, okay? So toes down, pushing into the ground. So to start this exercise here, I'm in a good position. You're going to bring the weighted ball up. Today we're using a 1 pound. You can go something a little bit heavier as long as you can control the motion. So I'll demonstrate without the ball first just so you can see. So when I'm setting up here, what I'm doing with this arm is I'm reaching forward here because that's going to allow the rib cage to be a little bit more round to allow the shoulder blade to sit snugly like across the rib cage is what we want. We don't want them just sitting here because oftentimes that's going to bias them to being a little bit more flexed, and it's going to bias the shoulder blades to be a little bit more relaxed and falling forward, which we don't want. So we want to put the shoulder blades in a solid position. So set up, what you're going to do is you're going to reach with this arm. The elbow is going to be slightly in front of the shoulder. You want to think about 15 degrees or so. Okay, so from the side it's going to look like this. So if I'm reaching, this would be 90, right? I'm lined up. I'm just going to move my shoulder in a little bit. That's just called scapular plane. So you need a little bit space, okay? Then from here, I'm going to take the weighted ball. I'm going to control up as far as I can. Once I hit that portion where I can't go anymore, I'm just going to control back down. And the whole time, my main focus is I want to feel everything in the back of the shoulder. And so from the front, these are some mistakes that I see. So say you're set. As they come back, they're either going to crank through the low back, which we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we maintain this position, and they're just going to work with the motion that they got. Second mistake is they're just gripping the ball too hard. So as they're going back, they're squeezing the ball, and they're getting a lot of bicep. We don't want that. That's going to teach the bicep to do the work, and oftentimes you're going to see a lot. Those are going to be those kids that have nasty stuff going down here at the bottoms of the bicep or front of the shoulder because they're not actually getting the cuff to turn on. So we want a nice relaxed bicep. We want everything to come from the cuff. So it should be like turning on an oven. You're just working low heat right now, okay? The third mistake that I see is when kids come down to internal rotation, they duck forward here. So the front of the shoulder is gliding into the front of the socket, which we don't want. Remember, the role of the cuff is to keep the ball and socket nice and centered. So we want everything to just move within that socket. So we're gonna bring the ball back and then just control down to about 90, making sure that there's no motion through here, no motion coming up. So a good rep is gonna look like this. From here, I move in, I'm reaching, my abs are braced, I'm gonna control up as far as I can, and then control down, making sure everything is staying centered. I'm just feeling my cuff in the back, and then just controlling. So I'll show it from the side so you can see the scapular plane, and tucked, hips underneath. So this would be 90. I'm just gonna move it in front a little bit. I'm just gonna control, making sure that the elbow is in line with my shoulder. I'm not allowing any gliding to happen in the front.